Will the House please come to order and members kindly take their seats? Good morning. Before we begin today's session, will you please join me in a moment of silence? Will you please rise and join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Members, before we get started, I wanted to give you an overview of our day. I'll begin by announcing recent legislative appointments, and then I'll be opening up for member announcements. After that, the plan is to begin with vetoed bills this morning. So I will be requesting a motion to suspend rules to take up each of those vetoed bills from the notice calendar. We have 5 veto House bills to get through, starting with House Bill 217, the child care bill. If the House overrides any of the vetoes, I will then request a motion to suspend rules to message our action to the Senate forthwith so that the Senate can consider those bills. The Senate may also consider vetoes of its Senate bills today. If the Senate overrides the veto of a Senate bill and message its actions to us, I will then request a motion to suspend rules to take up that bill pending its entry on the notice calendar. We will also consider the Senate proposal of amendment on House Bill 171 and House Bill 158. We will also consider a joint resolution to allow remote joint committee authority. We will recess during the day to allow committees to meet. And we will see how much business we can get through today. And if necessary, we will adjourn until tomorrow to finish our necessary business. So with that. Will the House please come to order? Will the chamber please come to order? Will the guests please be seated so we can conduct our business? Will the guests please be silent so we can start our work? And with that, we will now turn to legislative appointments. Will the House please come to order? I have made the following legislative appointments. Representative Black of Essex is appointed to the Green Mountain Care Nominating Committee. and Representative Garofano of Essex and Representative Chapin of East Montpelier are appointed to the working group on policies pertaining to individuals with intellectual disabilities who are criminally justice involved. Are there any announcements? Member from Jericho.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It's my excitement today. It's my honor today to bring the Mount Mansfield girls tennis team, the D2 state champions, into the State House to be recognized. This is a team coached by Sandy Ferry, who started with the team 3 years ago, and at the beginning of this season said, "You are champions," to the team, and they weren't really sure. We didn't graduate any seniors last year, but they did it. And in the run-up to the championship, they had 3 rounds of matches, included 21 individual matches to play, and they only lost 1. They needed to win 12. They won 20. So it's a team that is going to be reckoned with, I think, for a few more years. We're graduating 2 seniors. I am lucky enough to be one of the volunteer coaches on this team, along with Sarah Brown, Jenna Bissett, and Mike Granning. And if I can recognize the players that are here. So today we have Tulip Grizel, Rosa Ricketson, Zoe Klein, Jasmine Tomlinson, Hannah Agrin, Avela Krull, Ada Krull, Irian Adi, Nefeli Batu, and Zoe Rosen, along with coaches who I've already named and their families. If the body would help me in recognizing them and celebrating their victory.
Will the guest member from Jericho please rise and be recognized? Member from Putney.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. If you have an apple orchard or any kind of orchard in your district, you probably know this information already. If you don't, if you're not in a rural area, don't expect to see any apples this year in Vermont. The freeze that happened a couple of weeks ago has wiped out pretty much the apple crop for Vermont this year. I have 4 orchards in my district. We're not going to see any apples. It seems to be that way across the state. And I'm raising the awareness now because I'm hoping to put an effort together to see what we could do, but also to see what we can do on a federal level to help our delegation in Washington, who are already aware of this, work hard with New York, with New England, to address this widespread, devastating effect on apple orchards across New England and New York. So stay tuned. I hope we can help. This is an unprecedented event for apple orchards around Vermont. And I'm hoping that we can move ahead as a group, as a legislature, and see what we can do to help agriculture in Vermont.
Are there any further announcements? Member from Westminster.
Hi, we have a couple of guests in the chamber who have been doing a lot of advocacy around the state. And one of them is, I think they're just preferring to be identified by first name only, but Rebecca and Darren. I think many of you here in the legislature have received email messages about folks from around the state who are living in the hotel and motel program, and Rebecca has helped with that. So please welcome Rebecca and Darren, and I believe Brenda Siegel, our former Democratic nominee for governor, is also here watching the proceedings today.
Will a guest and the member from Westminster please rise and be recognized? Are there any further announcements? Seeing none. Member from Poultney, Can you please offer us a motion to suspend our rules to take up for immediate consideration off the notice calendar House Bill 217, which is an act relating to childcare, early education, workers' compensation, and unemployment insurance?
Madam Speaker, I make a motion to suspend rules to take up off the notice calendar for immediate consideration H 217.
The member from Poultney moves that we suspend our rules to take up House Bill 217 for immediate consideration. Are you ready for the question? Member from Northfield.
Madam Speaker, I want to just note for the record that I have certainly been a longstanding individual to say we should not suspend rules for major significant legislation without our normal time to review it. In this situation, we clearly have had plenty of time to review it, even though we were not in session. So I am supportive on all of these measures, but want to make note of that.
Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and you have suspended our rules to take up House Bill 217 for immediate consideration. House Bill 217 is an act relating to childcare, early education, workers' compensation, and unemployment insurance. The governor vetoed the bill and has returned it to the House. The governor's veto message can be found in today's calendar. Pursuant to Chapter 2, Section 11 of the Vermont Constitution, the House will now reconsider the bill by voting on whether to pass it by overriding the veto. By the Constitution, overriding the veto requires a 2/3 vote of members present, and this vote must be taken by roll call. The specific question of the House will vote on is, shall the bill pass notwithstanding the governor's refusal to approve the bill? So just to confirm, a yes vote is a vote in favor of the bill in order to override the veto and pass the bill. A no vote is a vote against the bill and in order to sustain the veto so that the bill does not pass. This question is debatable. After the conclusion of any debate as required by the Constitution, the clerk will call the roll. The question is, shall the bill pass, notwithstanding the governor's refusal to approve the bill? Member from Shelburne.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise today to ask you to join me in supporting H 217 and to override the governor's veto of it, an act relating to child care, early education, workers' compensation, and unemployment insurance. The House, the Senate, and yes, even the governor have all spent the better part of a decade discussing the importance of investing in Vermont's child care system, an action that is also an investment in Vermont's economy. Madam Speaker, on May 12th, just 39 days ago, we voted 118 to 27 to support H 217. That strong vote was a clear indication that we, as a body, recognized the need to do something significant about our broken child care system. In taking that vote, we recognized that H 217 addresses the importance of increasing equitable access to and the quality of Vermont's childcare and early learning system, and the importance of maintaining a mixed delivery system for pre-K, childcare, after school, and summer care everywhere in Vermont, while assigning clear responsibility for ensuring equitable pre-K access for all children who are 4 years old. H 217 addresses the necessity to provide financial stability for all our child care programs, both in our homes and centers. H 217 addresses the essential need to adequately and fairly compensate Vermont's talented early educators And H217 addresses the dilemma our employers face weekly, often even daily, because of disruptions in the workforce due to a broken childcare system. 39 days later, we are here on this issue for a very simple reason. We are here to affirm our action taken on H217 on May 12th. Nothing has changed in 39 days that makes the needs of Vermont's childcare system any less important, any less in need of change, restructuring, and improvement for our children, for our working families, for our early education workers, and for our struggling businesses. We are here to underscore that the action we took on H217 was the right thing to do and the right time to do it. We did not take that action in haste. Childcare has been the subject of countless studies, resulting in countless reports in this state and across this nation. This legislature, as well as several past legislatures, have read and reviewed those reports in depth. This legislature has spent endless hours visiting childcare centers, talking to families using or in need of childcare, meeting with business owners and leaders throughout the state, and taking hours upon hours of testimony in every single committee of jurisdiction. And when we passed H217, it was after a vigorous and lengthy floor debate in this body. There is no need to go back over the details of this bill passed by us 39 days ago. What we must do is move forward and allow H217 to go into effect, to create a path ahead, knowing that transformational change is exceedingly difficult, but sometimes very necessary. We understood that none of these changes would happen overnight. We know that this only begins to meet the needs of our children, our families, our early educators, and our businesses. But H217 does not plunge us into the darkness. Instead, it strengthens our childcare system. It makes it one of the best investments we can make in Vermont's economy. In overwhelmingly passing H217, we took steps to create an opportunity that positively impacts Vermont's future. And Madam Speaker, I believe we have the courage to take those very same steps today. Please join me in voting yes to override the veto of H217. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The question is, shall the bill pass, notwithstanding the governor's refusal to approve the bill? Are you ready for the question? Member from Poultney.
Madam Speaker, childcare is an issue we all should be able to get behind and support. Unfortunately, raising a new tax, especially a payroll tax, is something I cannot support. H217 puts in place a regressive payroll tax that, if you are a lower income Vermonter eligible to receive free childcare, you will have to pay a tax. That's right, pay a tax with no added benefit to you, so that families with higher incomes get support. Vermont already has one of the highest tax burdens in the nation. This payroll tax is the last thing we should be doing, given the uncertainty of the economy and projections that we will experience a 7% inflation rate. There was a path forward offered by our governor to expand subsidies to 450% of the federal poverty level and funding a 10% increase in provider rates without relying on new and regressive taxes. This plan would have covered an additional 6,000 more children, helping families who earn up to $135,000 per year, establishing Vermont as the state most committed to affordable, accessible childcare for working families. Unfortunately, there was no interest. I will vote no to sustain the governor's veto.
Are you ready for the question? Member from Colchester.
Yes, thank you, Madam Speaker. I just would like to read a section from this morning's Burlington Free Press.
You may.
Okay. So this is on, this is one of the lead stories. Vermont ranked high for child well-being in the report. The Annie E. Casey Foundation on Wednesday released its Kids Count data book for 2023, which ranks states in 4 areas: economic well-being, health, education, and family and community. Vermont came in 4th overall, one step up from last year. But a breakout section in the report on childcare and affordability and access had Vermont tied for dead last in the nation. Thank you.
The question is, shall the bill pass, notwithstanding the governor's refusal to approve the bill? Are you ready for the question? If so, will the clerk please call the roll?
Andrews of Westford.
1 minute. Will the House please come to order and members kindly take their seats? I would like to remind members that we are in the middle of a roll call vote. Members and guests are prohibited from using computers, phones, or any type of electronic device. Please refrain from the passing of notes and conversation during the roll call. And when the clerk calls your name, please answer in a loud and clear voice so the clerk can accurately record your vote. The question is, shall the bill pass, notwithstanding the governor's refusal to approve the bill? Will the clerk please continue to call the roll?
Adriano of Orwell. Anthony of Berry City. Yes. Arison of Weathersfield. Yes. Arsenault of Williston. Yes. Austin of Colchester. Yes. Bartholomew of Heartland. Yes. Bartley of Fairfax. Yes. Beck of St. Johnsbury. No. Berbecco of Winooski. Yes. Byrong of Vergennes. Yes. Black of Essex. Bloomley of Burlington. Yes. Bongarts of Manchester. Yes. Boslin of Westminster. Yes. Boyden of Cambridge. Yes. Brady of Williston. Yes. Brannigan of Georgia. Yes. Brennan of Colchester. Brown of Richmond. Brownell of Pownell. Brumstead of Shelburne. Burdett of West Rutland. Burke of Brattleboro. Burrows of West Windsor. Buss of Woodstock. Campbell of St. Johnsbury. Canfield of Fairhaven. Carpenter of Hyde Park. Carroll Bennington. Casey of Montpelier. Chapin of East Montpelier. Chase of Chester. Chase of Colchester. Chestnut Tangerman of Middletown Springs. Christie of Hartford. Chena of Burlington. Clifford of Rutland City. Coffey of Guilford. Cole of Hartford. Conlon of Cornwall. Corcoran of Bennington. Cordis of Lincoln. DeMar of Enosburg. Demereux of Corinth. Dickinson of St. Albans Town. Dodge of Essex. Dolan of Essex Junction. Dolan of Waitsfield. Donahue of Northfield. Durfee of Shaftesbury. Elder of Starksboro. Emmons of Springfield. Farley's Rubio of Barnet. Galfetti of Berrytown. Garifano of Essex. Goldman of Rockingham. Ghostland of Northfield. Graham of Williamstown. Granning of Jericho. Gregoire of Fairfield. Hengo of Berkshire. Harrison of Chittenden. Hedrick of Burlington. Higley of Lowell. Holcomb of Norwich. Hooper of Randolph. Hooper of Burlington. Houghton of Essex Junction. Howard of Rutland City. Hyman of South Burlington. James of Manchester. Jerome of Brandon. Kornheiser of Brattleboro. Krasnow of South Burlington. Krowinski of Burlington. Labor of Morgan. LaBounty of Linden. Lally of Shelburne. Lalonde of South Burlington. Lamont of Morristown. Lanford of Vergennes. LaRush of Franklin. Levitt of Grand Isle. Lipsky of Stowe. Logan of Burlington. Long of Newfane. McGuire of Rutland City. Marcotte of Coventry. Maslin of Thetford. Matos of Milton. McCann of Montpelier. McCarthy of St. Albans City. McCoy of Pulteney. McFawn of Berrytown. McGill of Bridport. Mahaly of Calais. Minier of South Burlington. Morgan of Milton. Morris of Springfield. Morrissey of Bennington. Rowicki of Putney. Mulvaney Stanek of Burlington. Nicole of Ludlow. Knott of Rutland City. Noyes of Wolcott. Nugent of South Burlington. O'Brien of Tunbridge. Odie of Burlington. Oliver of Sheldon. Page of Newport City. Payella of Londonderry. Parsons of Newberry. Pat of Worcester. Pearl of Danville. Peterson of Clarendon. Pouch of Heinsberg. Priestley of Bradford. Rachelson of Burlington. Rice of Dorset. Roberts of Halifax. Samus of Castleton. Sakowitz of Randolph. Shy of Middlebury. Shaw of Pittsford. Sheldon of Middlebury. Sibilia of Dover. Sims of Craftsbury. Small-Vanuski. Smith of Derby. Squirrel of Underhill. Stebbins of Burlington. Stevens of Waterbury. Stone of Burlington. Supernaut of Barnard. Taylor of Milton. Taylor of Colchester. Templeman of Brownington. Tolino of Brattleboro. Toof of St. Albans Town. Torrey of Moortown. Troiano of Stannard. Walker of Swanton. Waters Evans of Charlotte. White of Bethel. Whitman of Bennington. Williams of Berry City. Williams of Granby. Wilson of Linden. Wood of Waterbury. Andriano of Orwell. Chapin of East Montpelier. And Oliver of Sheldon.
For purpose of explanation, member from Northfield.
Madam Speaker, this critical issue could have been addressed in a fiscally responsible manner by taking reasonable steps forward rather than biting off a massive chunk all at one time. There was a rational path for significant progress without a new payroll tax. I cannot support this veto override.
Member from Barrytown.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise in support of H217 with a heavy heart. However, with the composition of the legislature being what it is in this state, we have no choice but to support this option that was given to us. Alternative bills were never taken off the wall for us to consider, and now we have levied a needless, regressive payroll tax as we were given no other options.
Member from Berkshire.
Madam Speaker, I voted no with regret today to uphold the governor's veto of this important legislation. I am disappointed that there was no due consideration for the governor's proposal to alleviate this crisis that affects our workforce and our families without raising new payroll taxes on every working Vermonter and their employers.
Member from Chittenden.
Madam Speaker, while I support increased funding for childcare, H217 goes too far. This bill gives new meaning to tax and spend.
Member from Franklin.
Madam Speaker, I voted yes before because I do support childcare. But this bill is expensive and imposes an onerous tax. And then I really doubt that money is going to solve this problem if we really have a labor problem in the state of Vermont, because money doesn't solve every problem. We need people to work. So I voted no. Thank you.
Member from Poultney.
Madam Speaker, a payroll tax for childcare is a regressive tax. The notion that low-income families who qualify for subsidized childcare will now be paying a payroll tax is untenable for me. I vote to support the governor's veto.
Member from Barrytown.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I voted yes on H217 because I ran on the notion that the child care industry needed to be stabilized. Affordable child care is positively an effective economic development tool as well. Even though I don't agree with the payroll tax as a funding mechanism, it is the only bill in front of me. Therefore, I vote yes for families in need of child care. Thank you.
Member from Milton.
Madam Speaker, this is a difficult vote for me as I've always supported child care bills and initiatives in the past. However, this legislation creates a tax that is regressive in nature, as is paid by all working Vermonters, rich or poor. The governor had given us a path that would have brought us into the top spot in the nation for childcare without raising taxes. Therefore, I voted no.
Member from Putney.
Madam Speaker, if there were ever a cause worthy of investing state dollars, it's our children, our families, and the staff, mostly women, who provide early care and education. And by investment, I mean long-term, not a one-time investment. Our children deserve no less.
Member from St. Albans Town.
Madam Speaker, although I support making important investments in childcare, I cannot support adding more burdens on working Vermonters. This vote isn't about childcare, it's about creating a new payroll tax. I vote no. Thank you.
Member from Waterbury.
Madam Speaker, may I explain my vote?
You may.
I voted yes. This is transformational change for Vermont. A family with $50,000 in income will pay $55 per year. But they will benefit, if they have 2 children, their benefit will be in excess of $22,000. A good bargain under any measurement. Workers benefit, families benefit, all Vermonters benefit.
Members, please listen to the results of your vote. There were 147 members present for the vote. 2/3 of that number is 98. Those voting yes, 116. Those voting no, 31. 2/3 of the members present having voted in favor of the passage of the bill, the governor's veto has been overridden. Now, member from Poultney, can you please offer us a motion to suspend our rules to take up for immediate consideration off the notice calendar House Bill 305, which is an act relating to professions and occupations regulated by the Office of Professional Regulation.
Madam Speaker, I make a motion to suspend rules to take up off the notice calendar for immediate consideration H305.
The member from Poultney moves that we suspend our rules to take up House Bill 305 for immediate consideration. Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and you have suspended our rules to take up House Bill 305 for immediate consideration. House 305 is an act relating to professions and occupations regulated by the Office of Professional Regulation. The governor has vetoed the bill and returned it to the House. The first assistant clerk emailed members a copy of the governor's veto message on the bill at 9:28 this morning. And the question is, shall the bill pass, notwithstanding the governor's refusal to approve the bill? Are you ready for the question? Member from South Burlington.
Madam Speaker, H305 would make various updates and changes to the regulation of specific professions in Vermont recommended by the Office of Professional Regulation, or OPR. This is a semi-annual housekeeping bill. I will now provide a brief reminder of what this bill would do. First, this bill authorizes public health dental hygienists with approved training to perform a procedure called Silver Modified Atraumatic Restorative Technique, otherwise known as SMART. This procedure stops decay and would be used to fill cavities. This provision increases Vermonters' access to dental care, particularly for low-income Vermonters. The bill also grants the authority for pharmacies to continue to provide timely and critical immunizations for COVID-19 and influenza vaccines, and also to test and treat with Paxlovid. This bill also allows pharmacists to advise patients if they test positive for RSV, COVID, or flu, and recommend that the patient seek further care from a healthcare provider. And this bill also allows pharmacists to prescribe and administer Depo-Provera, which expands women's access to safe and effective contraception and will especially assist low-income and rural Vermonters. Other policy provisions of this legislation would make important changes to enforcement and disciplinary processes to ensure efficient and fair administration of licensure oversight. Finally, H305 updates OPR licensing and corporations fees to account for inflation. OPR currently oversees 51 professions and 85,000 licensees, and the last time any fees were adjusted was 2019, and many not since 2006. In the corporations division, some fees have not increased since 2015, the majority of them not since 1993. Funding ongoing government services is critical to serving Vermonters well and consistently, including those businesses and professions that rely on these services to operate continually and reliably. The fees increased in this bill are necessary to carry out safe and efficient oversight and regulation of professions in Vermont. Furthermore, the fees contained in this bill will be assessed individually and on a time-limited basis. There are no tax increases in this bill. Finally, these fee proposals were reviewed by OPR on a case-by-case basis to ensure that they would not overburden any one profession, and in some cases, OPR also lowered their initial proposed increase. In short, this bill is necessary and timely in order to fund the administration of this important office, and we respectfully ask that the body support it by voting yes.
The question is, shall the bill pass, notwithstanding the governor's refusal to approve the bill? Are you ready for the question? Member from Northfield.
Madam Speaker, we're in a time of unprecedented workforce shortages. Increasing professional fees is counterproductive to addressing it.
Are you ready for the question? If so, will the clerk please commence to call the roll?
Andrews of Westford.
Yes. 1 minute. Will the House please come to order and members kindly take their seats? Just want to reiterate for members who didn't hear me that the first assistant clerk emailed members a copy of the governor's veto message on the bill at 9:28 this morning. There was an error in the calendar, so you have that in your email box again at 9:28 this morning. I would like to remind members that we are in the middle of a roll call vote. Members and guests are prohibited from using computers, phones, or any type of electronic device. Please refrain from the passing of notes and conversation during a roll call. When the clerk calls your name, please answer in a loud and clear voice so the clerk can accurately record your vote. The question is, shall the bill pass? Notwithstanding the governor's refusal to approve the bill, will the clerk please continue to call the roll?
Of Orwell. Anthony of Berry City. Arison of Weathersfield. Arsenault of Williston. Austin of Colchester. Bartholomew of Heartland. Bartley of Fairfax. Beck of St. Johnsbury. Rebecca of Winooski. Byrong of Virgins. Black of Essex. Bloomley of Burlington. Bongarts of Manchester. Boslin of Westminster. Boyden of Cambridge. Brady of Williston. Brannigan of Georgia. Brennan of Colchester. Brown of Richmond. Brownell of Pownell. Brumstead of Shelburne. Burdett of West Rutland. Burke of Brattleboro. Burrows of West Windsor. Buss of Woodstock. Campbell of St. Johnsbury. Canfield of Fairhaven. Carpenter of Hyde Park. Carroll of Bennington. Casey of Montpelier. Chapin of East Montpelier. Chase of Chester. Chase of Colchester. Chestnut Tandreman of Middletown Springs. Christie of Hartford. Chena of Burlington. Clifford of Rutland City. Coffey of Guilford. Cole of Hartford. Conlon of Cornwall. Corcoran of Bennington. Cordes of Lincoln. Damar of Venusburg. Demrow of Corinth. Dickinson of St. Albans Town. Dodge of Essex. Dolan of Essex Junction. Dolan of Waitsfield. Donahue of Northfield. Durfee of Shaftesbury. Elder of Starksboro. Emmons of Springfield. Farley's Rubio of Barnet. Galfetti of Barrytown. Garifano of Essex. Goldman of Rockingham. Ghostland of Northfield. Graham of Williamstown. Granning of Jericho. Gregoire of Fairfield. Hango of Berkshire. Harrison of Chittenden. Hedrick of Burlington. Higley of Lowell. Holcomb of Norwich. Hooper of Randolph. Hooper of Burlington. Houghton of Essex Junction. Howard of Rutland City. Hyman of South Burlington. James of Manchester. Jerome of Brandon. Kornheiser of Brattleboro. Krasnow of South Burlington. Krowinski of Burlington. Labor of Morgan. LaBounty of Linden. Lally of Shelburne. Lalone of South Burlington. Lamont of Morristown. Lanford of Virgins. LaRush of Franklin. Levitt of Grand Isle. Lipsky of Stowe. Logan of Burlington. Long of Newfane. McGuire of Rutland City. Marcotte of Coventry. I'm sorry, Marcotte. Thank you. Maslin of Thetford. Matos of Milton. McCann of Montpelier. McCarthy of St. Albans City. McCoy of Pulteney. McFawn of Berrytown. McGill of Bridport. Mahali of Calais. Minier of South Burlington. Morgan of Milton. Morris of Springfield. Morrissey of Bennington. Rowicki of Putney. Mulvaney Stanek of Burlington. Nicole of Ludlow. Knott of Rutland City. Noyes of Woket. Nugent of South Burlington. O'Brien of Tunbridge. Odie of Burlington. Oliver of Sheldon. Page of Newport City. Payala of Londonderry. Parsons of Newberry. Pat of Worcester. Pearl of Danville. Peterson of Clarendon. Pouch of Heinsberg. Priestley of Bradford. Rachelson of Burlington. Rice of Dorset. Roberts of Halifax. Samus of Castleton. Sackowitz of Randolph. Shia of Middlebury. Shaw of Pittsford. Sheldon of Middlebury. Sibilia of Dover. Sims of Craftsbury. Small of Winooski. Smith of Derby. Squirrel of Underhill. Stebbins of Burlington. Stevens of Waterbury. Stone of Burlington. Supernon of Barnard. Taylor of Milton. Taylor of Colchester. Templeman of Brownington. Flino of Brattleboro. Toof of St. Albans Town. Torrey of Moortown. Troiano of Stannard. Walker of Swanton. Waters Evans of Charlotte. White of Bethel. Women of Bennington. Williams of Berry City. Williams of Granby. Wilson of Linden. Wood of Waterbury. Andriano of Orwell. Chapin of East Montpelier. And Oliver of Sheldon.
For purpose of explanation, member from Corinth.
Madam Speaker, state government is not immune to the inflationary pressures we all face. We, as a state, rely on professional boards to uphold professional, licensing, and ethics standards. I voted yes because adequately funding professional boards protects all Vermonters.
Member from St. Albans City.
Madam Speaker, this bill makes important updates to Office of Professional Regulation policies, notably expanding the scope of practice for dental hygienists to save the teeth of many Vermonters. The increases in fees for licenses are in line with inflation and will make OPR more sustainable and self-sufficient. I vote yes.
Member from Poultney.
Madam Speaker, a $7 million hit to businesses and employees for the professional licensures, especially during these uncertain economic times, is something I cannot support. I vote to support the governor's veto.
Member from Westford.
Madam Speaker, I rise today to...
Would you like to explain your vote?
May I explain my vote?
You may.
Thank you. I rise today in support of our colleagues in the Office of Professional Regulation that keep our professions serving Vermonters every day. And when we choose to not adequately fund them, we send a negative message to our colleagues about the role that they play in we abdicate our responsibility. So today I voted yes. Thank you.
Member from Berrytown.
Madam Speaker, may I explain my vote?
You may.
With the passage of H305, we have started a dangerous slide in the standard of dental care, especially for low-income Vermonters. By allowing hygienists to put a Band-Aid on tooth decay that has not been evaluated by a licensed dentist. As a result, we will put people's dental health at risk.
Members, please listen to the results of your vote. There were 147 members present for the vote. 2/3 of that number is 98. Those voting yes, 109. Those voting no, 38. 2/3 of the members present having voted in favor of the passage of the bill, the governor's veto has been overridden. With that, member from Poultney, can you please offer us a motion to suspend our rules to message our action to the Senate forthwith on House Bill 217 and House Bill 305?
Madam Speaker, I make a motion to suspend rules to message our actions on H217 and H305 to the Senate forthwith.
You have heard the motion. Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and you have suspended our rules to message our action to the Senate forthwith on House Bill 217 and House Bill 305. Members, at this time, we will recess for committees to meet and for lunch, and we'll be returning at the fall of the gavel at approximately 1 p.m. The House will stand in recess.
Aye.